Hello world! Hello world! I'm Hans and you're not. Welcome to my channel. This is Hans Watches. Do not buy a new Seiko SKX007 in 2024 before you see this. First of all, for all those Seiko fanatics out there, hear me out before you go hammering your keyboard and going nuts in the comments section. Hey, feel free to see the whole video before you go nuts in the comments. It might have some useful information. I was looking at the prices for the Seiko SKX yesterday, and that inspired me to make this video because clearly doing a rebuy of the Seiko SKX is not going to happen anytime soon, it seems. You won't believe the prices they are charging these days online. The first store I checked was the same store that I bought mine 6 years ago. I bought it for $150 back then, and now they're charging $799. $799? Hey, why don't you charge $7,000 for it? But it doesn't stop there. The next one I found, $1,264. Anyone higher? Well, yeah, guess what? I found even higher. How about $2,600? What's going on with these prices? I mean, are they losing it? I know, supply and demand, but still. Because the Seiko SKX is so beloved for so many of us. It used to be our gateway into this lovely madness called watch collecting. And just like free drugs, don't do drugs, this was the way to get people hooked on Seiko as a brand and watch collecting as a hobby. And the SKX was my gateway. It was my first automatic and I was deeply in love with it for about a quarter of a year or so, until the next watch came along. It was the Seiko Samurai Blue Lagoon. I thought it was the most beautiful thing I ever saw. And then the SKX seemed a little simple and understated compared to that. So I moved along, didn't think too much about the SKX until Seiko announced their revised product strategy, which included discontinuing the SKX as well as the Saab line, including the Alpinist. Then I thought, maybe I should stack up a pile of watches to make some money. But I ended up didn't do it because I'm not into this to make money. And of course, my funds are limited, so I wouldn't stack up tons of watches. But clearly, others did stack up a ton of watches. And later, as the stocks have been depleted, the prices have gone only one way. It's up, up, up. That's quite natural when such a beloved watch and such an icon is being discontinued. However, bear in mind that those watches that's been offered online as new now, they're actually new old stock because they're like 4 or 5 year old. So maybe it's time to get them serviced once you get it, right? Been sitting in a store or a storage house for years. And those watches have reached what I think is beyond reasonable and fair pricing, and of course triggered the worst in all good capitalists. But of course, I know supply, demand, that's how it is. But still, we don't have to buy them as collectors for that price. But somebody does, because otherwise they wouldn't be priced like that. And my guess is that a lot of these stores have dynamic pricing based on purely supply and demand. So somebody's buying those watches. I would love to hear what you think if you're one of the buyers, so please use the comments. And I'm not making fun of you, I'm just curious. Genuinely curious. And of course, there's nothing wrong with the SKX. I want one too. But what's wrong in my mind, in my heart, is to pay that massive overprice for such a basic and simple watch. Has a basic movement, cannot wind, cannot hack. It has a very flat dial, only painted markers. It has its fair share of alignment issues. The bracelet is flimsy but comfortable, and if it comes on a rubber strap, it's okay to look at, but very stiff. So it doesn't really have a lot going for it except it's an icon. And of course, it's a tool watch. It's a tough beater. Don't get me wrong. It's a simple and honest watch without the big design features, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's easy to mod, and I think every modder started with the SKX probably. But like I said, what's wrong is to pay this massive overprice for this watch. And for that kind of money, $400, $1,600, $2,600, there's a whole world to choose from. For the top level, you can get a fancy Tag Heuer or Longines, and there's a whole world of micro brands offering insane value for money and unique design. Or you can get the new 5KX Sports series. There's a lot of nice watches there too, even though they only have 100-meter water resistance. How often do you go to 200-meter depths? And if you've been collecting watches for some time now, I'm sure you have thought the same things yourself if you have observed these prices. So then this is not new information for you, but this advice is primarily intended for those who are new to this hobby, and for those of you who are still wondering if you should get the SKX because you haven't had it before and you've heard that it's a must because that's all internet said 4 or 5 years ago. But that information is no longer valid. It's clearly no longer the case that you must have the SKX. If you do feel that you need to get this watch no matter what, don't tell me you weren't warned. It's of course different if money is not an issue. If you are super wealthy, you can do whatever you want with your money, right? But usually, if you are super wealthy, you have become wealthy for a reason. And that's because you're good to take care of your money. I don't think there's a lot of wealthy people that will spend overpriced on this kind of watch. So my tip for you is to look on used watches on eBay or other sites. You can get them for $200, $250. That's what they're going for anyway. Now, if I'm to speculate a little bit, and everybody loves to speculate, right? I think Seiko would bring back the SKX as a modern reinterpretation like they do with all their other reinterpretations of classic watches. They'll bring it back in the prospect line with it's a $1,000 watch with upgraded specs, the same case design, but this time with decent crystal and a decent movement, and they're going to charge $1,000 for it. And it's going to be a massive success. And I think they need it, because if you compare the share price on Seiko in 2019 when they did their revised product strategy compared to 2023, 2024, it's about the same level. So clearly it hasn't been a big success for the shareholders. And of course, those few watches only do this much on that bottom line. But still, if I was a shareholder, I wouldn't be really happy with the outcome of those stock prices, right? And there's, of course, a lot of other things that influence the stock than those watches, but still. So there you have it. My advice for you. Don't pay overprice for the SKX. Don't fall for the SKX scam. And don't buy it for more than $400, because there's a whole world of watches, literally thousands of great watches to choose from for that kind of money. You get a super nice Certina PH500. I paid $500 for this. Brand new or brand new old stock, never been used. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. And remember to subscribe and hit that like button. It really means a lot. And hit the bell. Thank you. Take care. Stay safe. Peace out. Peace out.